want to dare to speak about awakening. And for many times I said that usually when I see people going through an awakening process, which is beautiful and also very hard to define because it can be in so many different ways, I've seen that there are generally two main types of realizations of awakening. I see people awaken spiritually, and I see people awaken energetically. And although it might be connected, and one can influence the other and trigger the other, not necessarily both of them are happening at the same time, at the same moment, to the same person. So when I speak about the difference between an energetic awakening and spiritual awakening, it's almost like I would say that there is a difference, which we all know, with a kinetic energy and a potential energy. When there is an energetic awakening, there is a certain movement of energies that become possible in our presence, in our being, in our energy field. Somehow, from some reason, whether it was triggered or stretched into or expanded into or all of the above, a certain movement of energy in the body or in the energy field happened. And that energy carried force into places that were not reachable before. And suddenly you feel energized, you feel alive, you feel motivated, you feel more connected, you have more vitality, more inner strength. You might feel that life have been opened for you, and it's like, wow, I'm like back and I'm connected again, and I can do that. This is possible. I'm more alive, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and this sometimes can happen from someone doing a massage for you, yeah, or from some streams that passed. And there is something that I differ and define a little bit different, and I call it a spiritual awakening. And the spiritual awakening, of course, also can be triggered from something, a movement of energy, a certain sensation. But next to the movement of energy, it doesn't stay only as a kinetic motion that happened and a certain place received a certain energy. No, this is different. This is a potential, a nuclear potential that is always there. It's always existing inside of you, yet it is dormant and waiting to have the appropriate moment when you as a being available to communicate with it. So actually, it is not always dormant. Since it is a potential, it has its own motion, its own movement, its own life. It is full of life. It's a potential. It's powerful. It's meaningful. There's so many things in it. But somehow, from a certain reason, from a certain constellations of stars and inner stars, you have moved yourself to a place that you are able to see, hear, feel, sense, and exchange, communicate, not verbally, communicate with this life force. And usually when it is happen, it's not necessarily dramatic, if at all. It's peaceful, stable, calm, have some sense. It's like suddenly life have sense, or more sense. You might feel more vital, you might feel more energized, you might feel more joy or more strength. That could be. But the main, the main characteristic, let's say, of this sensation is that you actually have more peace. And you actually are more calm. And you are able to grasp reality, yourself, life in a wider way and in a more sensible, more logic. And these types of realizations and this type of awakening can happen in small dose or big dose. But once it happens, once this certain potential opened, it cannot go back. It cannot get smaller. It cannot be dormant again. It cannot disconnect. There's no possibility to disconnect from it, because it is life force in its purest essence that is actually waiting to come into life, waiting to participate more. It is actually the real incarnation. Finally, you incarnated. Finally, you are in life. Finally, you are in your body. Finally, you are in the relationship. And please breathe.
For more inspiration, information about upcoming classes, and free content to raise your vibration, visit www.homaya.org.